members of our community at the game, at the semi-state at Chesterton, people that just drove from South Bend. And honestly, we received the love from afar, even for those that weren't there. I was actually at my daughter's wedding, so I was remote control, paying attention. They set up a special room just for me, so I can be part of the game with them. But I'm just so delighted by the support we received from the community, from the staff at John Adams, from the parents, and I couldn't be more proud of these boys. Principal Sites already talked about their character, but I want to tell you these guys have a winning mentality, and what makes their winning mentality work is the fact that they're absolute competitors. They knew that they can beat any team in the state, because last year we beat the #1 ranked team in the state, and this year we beat them again. Nice. We beat Concord on our own home turf, and we know on any single day we can waltz with any team in the state, and they approach any single game, any single competition with that mindset. So I couldn't be more proud of them, so please recognize them with applause. You guys want to take a picture? Thank you.
Second announcement, or actually something that happened last week on October 29th, the Showcase of Schools was an exciting time. We imbued some fun into it this year. It was a trunk or treat. Kids came out. We had kids had to get their paper stamped at every table, and then they were rewarded at the end. It was a totally different atmosphere, very welcoming, and we had a good turnout. And the last thing is an announcement for the former SSC employees who have joined us as engineers or custodians. There was a mess up during the transfer of records, especially with American Fidelity. They did not transfer the premium subtraction from the payroll. So on Friday, American Fidelity sent termination notices, and erroneously. And to that, they apologize, and they would like you to know that all of your benefits are still active, so please don't panic. They are sending a letter to adjust that. That's all I have.
Thank you. We now have the opportunity to hear from visitors under action items 9.01 through 9.09. At regular meetings, the public is invited to address the board for 3 minutes regarding action agenda items. Visitors wishing to address the board on action agenda items must sign the registration sheet prior to the meeting and state the action agenda item or items which they will address. Individuals may only speak once during this section of the agenda. Speakers shall properly identify themselves after they approach the podium by stating their name and address for the record. Personnel issues are not to be addressed during open sessions of the school board. The board president may interrupt, warn, or terminate a person's statement if the statement becomes personally directed, abusive, or obscene. Secretary Lever, has anyone signed up to speak?
We have one speaker tonight, Mr. John Pashesky.
John Pachesney, 18420 Crown Hill Drive. Superintendent Need, you and your financial team, headed by your CFO Tabid, should be commended for working to find the wasteful spending that has occurred in this corporation under the prior administration since you took over. Your hard work has paid off with a record budget and also record raises for our teachers in the corporation, the employees who really deserve it. Now, I can't help but wonder what would have been done with all of the ESSER money that was flushed down the toilet and wasted and not being put to good use and proper use. While we can't worry about the past, with the raises and deferred maintenance, I really wonder what we would be sitting at today. Anyway, it was a great job putting the money where it matters the most. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing there's no one else. We now have the opportunity to hear from visitors on other items. At regular meetings, the public is invited to address the board for 3 minutes regarding items not posted on the agenda. Individuals may only speak once during this section of the agenda. Speakers shall properly identify themselves after they approach the podium by stating their name and address for the record. Personnel issues are not to be addressed during open sessions of the school board. The board president may interrupt, warn, or terminate a person's statement if the statement becomes personally directed, abusive, or obscene. Does anyone wish to speak?
John Pachesney, 18420 Crown Hill Drive. At a recent South Bend High School football game, it was senior night. There were 19 seniors. 8 of these young men are not going to college. 8 of them all said they were going into the trades. You know, we've heard a lot about the CTE Center and its failed attempts over the past years. And I hope, along with many in this community, that once the judge rules on the Clay building, this board will then look to establish a CTE center here in town. I was up in Kalamazoo yesterday and saw their mammoth building, and ironically ended up talking to an employee of their corporation. While the building was free, they're going to have to do some type of taxing, or I forget what they call it, millage in Michigan, to order to operate it. So a $100 million building may not be that grand of a thing if you have to keep spending money. Also, I don't know if anybody has noticed, but parochial schools are also establishing CTE centers. Bishop Dwenger in Fort Wayne is adding on to their building with a CTE center now. Construction has started. They see and understand the new pathways in education. I hope in 2026 we can see some movement in establishing one here in South Bend. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so I'm going to switch a little bit here. We need to make an amendment to adopt the agenda, to amend the agenda, because we're going to be removing 9.09, the approval of the Beacon Health System Agreement for the school nursing services. And so we're going to amend the agenda to remove that, and that will be back on the agenda with the next board meeting. However, in the meantime, I'd like to have a motion to amend the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's been moved by Mrs. Lee, second by Mr. Schneidecke, to amend the agenda. Is there any questions? Ms. Hernandez, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Ellison. Nay. Mr. Costello.
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
Dr. Green.
Nay.
Mr. Leva.
Aye.
Mr. Snedecke.
Aye.
Dr. McCullough.
Aye. The vote passes 5-2, 5 yeses and 2 nos to amend the agenda, removing item number 9.09. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on anything on the action items? None? Okay, so we will move right along to academic focus. And it's the budget, 7.01, the budget. We welcome CFO Neff and his team to the table.
Good evening, Dr. McCullough and the Board of Trustees and everyone in audience tonight. Today we are going to be covering the budget in a summary view, as we have already done our presentation. So we will try to be quick, but to give you a refresher before you vote on the budget adoption. However, there are some new slides which I will be covering towards the end of the presentation. Anaf, the CFO. I have with me Deputy CFO, Ms. Louisa Brand, Director of Internal Control and Audits, Marlena Johns, and Kaunain Ahmed, Director, Strategic Finance. Just to give a little bit refresher about the financial strategy of the district, we want to ensure a safe and healthy financial future for the district with a good cash balance and a sustainable one. We want to maximize our investment in education. We would like to achieve that through operational efficiency and lowering down transfer from education to operations. We are never going to be holding money back when we can maximize our investment in brand ambassadors, because they deserve all the goodwill gestures from our district. And we also want to ensure safe, secure, and safe learning environment for all our students at all the buildings.
Good evening. I'm not going to go into detail just like Anaf said, because we've already gone over most of this. So going back to the internal control manual, I think probably everybody has received a couple of emails about it already. We are looking at having a December release with updates. We have about 20 areas of clarification or new areas that we're going to cover in that. So again, it is a living beast. If you have any ideas from anybody in the corporation, board members, whoever, about an area that we need to investigate or look into more, please reach out. I'd be happy to look at it and then maybe add it to the next one. So far, we still had the 3 in-person trainings. Back October 2nd, we had 625 employees who completed the training. Now we're up to just shy of 1,600, which is about 60% of our employment workforce, which includes the hourly and salary people. We did get some good news from the State Board of Accounts. People who are not directly working with funds or managing funds or working with cash will not have to complete that training every year. They are satisfied with the manual that we put together and the training that we have so far, that they won't have everybody do it moving forward. So once we have people sign off on it initially, and we're going to incorporate that into new hires as well, they won't have to do it again unless they're actually involved with funds or cash or managing funds in any way. The capital asset inventory, we did clarify that the inventory should be able to be uploaded into the new financial software that we are acquiring. It does not have the barcode capability yet, but again, we wanted to plan for the future, so we do have those barcodes on there so that potentially with new software down the line or new developments with the software we're getting, we'll be able to utilize that system. Important to note here is that we do have that $75 million in assets and book value, or about $1 billion in assets for market value. So if something happened and everything had to be replaced, it would be about $1 billion to replace everything. As everyone knows, we are a highly regulated entity. We get audited very regularly, and I know people are probably tired of hearing this, but the 22-23 financial audit, we feel, is getting very, very close to being completed. And the reason that I'm pretty confident in that is that I don't have the auditors reaching out for as many documents anymore. So that means that they're working on closing things down, which is a great sign. So hopefully we'll see the output from that very soon. We are in good standing with all of our reporting partners, so that no big updates there. And so Lou?
Hello. As Anaf and Marlena mentioned, I'm not gonna show or say again everything, but I really want to share certain things that are important for the budget approval tonight. The one important thing is that, as Anaf mentioned, we are lowering our education to operation transfer from 9.1% to 5.5% in between year 24 and 25. We also completed 4 union negotiations in just 4 days that included also stipends for bus drivers and paraprofessionals for up to $3,500. And schools got $1.5 million in additional support for classrooms. Even after all these investments in education, our cash reserve in August 2025 was $119 million versus $102 million back in August 2024. As Marlena mentioned, we developed our district-wide internal control manual and completed our full capital asset inventory. Now every contract and stipend go to the board for approval, so we have a better control on all our expenditures. And we ended our SSC contract saving between $3 and $5 million per year. What is special about 2026? So pretty much this is a turning point. With the facilities management in-house, SBCSC is saving about $4.5 million each year and other $6 to $7 million in savings from medical insurance. Our big challenge, of course, is the first year impact of Senate Bill 1, which limits property tax growth and enrollment loss. 2026 is definitely a year of opportunity to maximize our investment in education. Important news. If approved, this budget makes South Bend Schools the highest paying district in the region and one of the tops in the state for teachers, bus drivers, paraprofessionals, custodians, and office staff. As the finance department, when we invest, we do know that when we invest in our staff, we are investing directly in our students, and that's how we drive better outcomes and enrollment stability. Our assumptions for this budget are conservative. A 4% increase in the operations levy and a 3% in the referendum levy. That's how we created this budget. We use 85% of last year's assess value since county data isn't final yet, and we've already included the estimated $13 million impact from Senate Bill 1. So what you are going to see here is a balanced, cautious, and realistic budget focused in education. Other assumptions are state tuition support is assumed to rise 2% each school year for school year 25-26 and 26-27. We anticipate around 250 fewer students, about a $2 million revenue drop. But even with that, our education to operations transfer will remain only in 1%. That means $1.25 million approx compared to $6.7 million in 2025. Efficiency savings from medical insurance and the SSC transition help fund historic raises while protecting our reserves, but most important, to maximize educational investment. This slide here shows us our budgets, the amounts that have been budgeted for the last 6 years. The education fund, as you can see, remains our largest, projected at about $132 million for year 2026, with more dollars reaching classrooms. The operations and referendum funds remain steady at around $47 and $32 million, ensuring continued support for our buildings and daily operations. The debt service fund at $23.6 million is what we use to make our annual bond payments, supporting construction and renovation projects. This slide shows our education fund budget alongside with the student enrollment from 2020 to 2026. You can see enrollment has gradually declining. About 250 fewer students is what we have projected for next year, which equals roughly to 2 million potential loss in revenue. Still, the fund stays strong because we have lowered the education to operation transfer from 15% back in year 2020 to only 1% in year 2026. So even with enrollment declines, we are keeping more money where it matters, meaning in our classroom instruction, education, and our staff. This slide also shows our budget for the operations of referendum funds over the last 6 years. The green section is operations, covering daily needs like transportation, security, and IT. The blue is the referendum operations. Facilities staff, social workers, preschool teachers are paid from this fund. And the gray section is what shows the impact of tax caps. Even with the 13 million tax cap because of Senate Bill 1, the 2026 budget stays sustainable.
Greetings, board members, superintendent, and the general public. I'm Kaunain, and I will be going do a short recap of the fund deep dives that we have. First off, the education fund. So the education fund is forecasted to be $132 million fund for 2026, and out of that, $124 million will be for salaries and benefits. And these salaries and benefits are for teachers, guidance counselors, school admin staff, secretaries, and support staff. In contrast to 2025, we are increasing the salaries and benefits for these classes by 10%, as we truly believe that teachers and the support staff in our schools deserve better and should be compensated better for what they do for the children in our school district. The other expenses that we have, about the remaining $8 million, will be spent on curriculum adoptions, school supplies, and the pay for substitute teachers. Moving on, when we look into the cost center categories, this chart shows what are the amount we are spending on each school level. You can see the elementary schools, high school, middle school, instructional central departments, and other central department. We use a small metric here in terms of identifying how much of our education fund is directly invested in our classrooms and staff. And in the budget of 2026, we expect 98.6% of the education fund to be spent directly for our classrooms and staff. This is a 0.6% increase from what we had from the 2025 budget. There's another metric that we have to comply to in terms of the state, which is the teacher compensation state requirement. So these are 24-25 actual numbers. And this states that an Indiana school district are required to spend at least 62% of their state tuition support for direct salaries and benefit for teachers. Here, we are doing about 64.3%, which is a 1.3% increase from previous years. And this is forecasted to be better next year as well. Moving on now to the operation fund. So similar to the education fund, the operations fund take the huge portion of the operations fund is for salaries and benefits. It's about $28 million, and it's paid for the non-certified admins, the bus positions, securities, bus paraprofessionals, ISS, mechanics, and technicians. The remaining $19 million is paid for a lot of other operational services that's essential for the school district. This includes the IT software systems, property and vehicle insurance, utilities, office supplies, and a few other essential operational services. Now, we also, in terms of the operations fund, every year we do present a bus replacement plan as well. This year is a bit different from previous years, as we are not allocating any money to be allocated for the bus replacement plan for 2026, as we still are utilizing the POs from 2024 and we have the 2025 still remaining to use. So it made sense to not spend any money for the bus replacement plan this year. However, we always have to show a 5-year plan. So from 2027 onwards, we will be allocating another $1.5 million each every year. Next comes the capital project plan. This is also another part that we mentioned when it comes to the operations fund. And as it states here, we will not be utilizing any money of the operations fund for capital projects. This will be done through other avenues, which I'll discuss later. Finally, when it comes to the Education to Operations Fund, as Louisa and Anaf has mentioned, we are attempting to transfer only 1% from the Education to Operations Fund. So this technically highlights two important things for us. One is by reducing that to just 1%, we are keeping more money in the education fund that's going to be spent directly for our classroom and staff. And it also shows that we are operationally more efficient now, and things that has been done in the last year or so has directly impacted us to have just a 1% transfer. And this makes us, if not the lowest, one of the lowest in the state in terms of transfers from the education to the operations fund. Next up, we have the Referendum Operation Fund deep dive. So the Referendum Operation Fund does an array of different things for us. For instance, it pays the salaries and benefits for all the facilities staff that we have, and other specialized positions like the social workers, preschool teachers, and digital integration specialists. It also helps us fund the nursing contract and some repairs and maintenance, some capital outlays for safety and security equipment, plus some other essential parts and equipments for schools operations, and some supplies as well. Sorry about that. From a cost center perspective, if you see the chart above from the 2025-2026, you will see the chart from the other central departments to be lower, as the custodian staff is now funded through different school levels. So other than that, we have also increased our funding in the elementary, middle, and high school support, and we have also added a dedicated budget for safety and security funding through the referendum operations as well. Overall, when we look into the general funds of these three funds, the education fund, the operations fund, and the referendum operations fund, this is what the chart looks like from a comparison of 2026 to 2025. The 2026 is the light blue one, and the 2026 is the light blue one, and the 2025 is the navy blue. So as you can see, we have increased our expenditures in elementary school, high school, middle school, instructional central departments, and we have also reduced our expenditures in other central department. This portrays that we are trying to increase our spending in school levels, adding more support for the instructional departments and safety and security, and also achieving more operational excellence in terms of reducing our operational costs and spending more money in our classrooms. Finally, this chart also depicts how we are spending our money based on objects. So as you can see, the 2025 budget, the 2026 budget, and the increase and decrease, as you can see from the table. What I would like to point out, and as Mr. Costello has always mentioned about making sure that we spend on our employees, and this was what we're trying to achieve in the 2026 budget, as we were spending about 70.4% last year in 2025 for the employee expenditure. That goes up to 82%. This outlines our objective of investing on employee morale, retention, and internal capacity building. So finally, the debt service fund, a pretty important fund for us, and this is what it looks like and how we have been servicing our debts in the last few years. As you can see, the 2026 one is very similar to that of 2025 and 2024. The reason it's pretty much holding the same amounts that we are paying is because as much as we are paying off our debts, we're also issuing new ones. Hence why the numbers you might seem is eerily similar from 2024 onwards. So there are certain questions that comes to play when we talk about the debt service. So these are the questions that I'm trying to answer here as well. So one of the first questions that's usually asked is that SBCAC has considerable debts. We make millions of dollars in payments each year for our debt service. So does it mean we would have had the money left if we didn't have those debts? So that's a very good question. The simple answer is no, as what we get from the state, we get revenue from the state to service our debts. So essentially, if we don't have any debts, we won't get debt service revenue from the state in this regard. So this is not essentially just a debt that, if we don't have this debt, we'll have more money. It's not necessarily the case. Next up, when we look into this chart, the other question is South Bend Community Schools taking too much debt? So here, there's a statewide formula that we follow, which is the total outstanding school bond divided by 1/3 of the cumulative net assessed value. Here, the ratio, the benchmark is 2% is the maximum ratio for school bonds. Currently, for SBCAC, we are less than 1% and exactly at 0.93%. This puts us as one of the lowest school bond ratios in Indiana. The next question is, the third most important question people ask is, why do we even take GEO bonds? And the reason is our capital projects. As I've mentioned, that we are not spending any money for our capital projects throughout the operations fund. We have to get that money from somewhere else, and that is the GEO bonds. From the different analysis that has been conducted, South Bend Community Schools need about $250 million. And obviously, with the ratio that I just mentioned, that is not possible in a year. But what is possible right now is to prioritize our needs and to make sure that we do the things that are most needed, and also to make sure that we keep our schools safe and secure. So the facilities and the finance team have come up with a 3-year plan where we will be focusing on the high priority needs required in those buildings and grounds to make sure that there is a safe environment, safe learning environment. So there is a 3-year plan which comprises of about $44 million. If you see this slide, you will see the different projects that is going to be spent in the next 3 years, from roof replacement to safety and security, parking lot repairs to foundation repairs, window shade replacement. All of that has been detailed out here. I will not dig much deeper into this. And if you have any questions, we can always answer that. Finally, this is done based on buildings. So it shows all of our schools that we have. And I just want to be clear about this, that all of these projects need to be completed regardless of the master facilities plan. So this is something that is beyond that, and that's why we are taking those GEO bonds to make sure that we get the payments done. So all of the information of each school is provided for the next 3 years in this slide. Thank you.
Well, I'm back again. I will talk about the cash balance, possibly one of the most important measures of our financial health. And as Luisa has bragged about, we had approximately $102 million cash in our bank, August 2024. But just 1 year after, in August 2025, we have $119 million. Now, we have spent a lot of money on our employees and other instructional programs in the last year, right? We have offered huge stipends to the paraprofessionals, to the bus drivers. We have given them possibly highest raises in history, and we are going to top that again, right? At the same time, we have maximized our investment on education. So how did that happen, right? Even after all the spending, our cash balance grew. Well, that is the magic of the finance team, but jokes apart, that has been possible because we are now submitting grant reimbursements in a much timelier fashion now. We are putting tighter control in our budget, so we are not going over our budgets. Everything is now going for the board's approval, all the contracts, stipends, everything. So due to enough check and balances, we are being more cautious now in terms of spending. Now, out of that $119 million, I mean, everything is not unrestricted, right? Because there are some bond money there, medical insurance funds, retirement funds. However, the unrestricted portion also grew. It was $42 million in 2024. Now it is more than $68 million. So we have approximately 2.5 months of cash reserve. In other words, I mean, if there is a government shutdown, which is the case now though, but we are not affected that much because most of our revenue come from the state, right? However, in a non-ideal scenario, if there is an emergency that we are not receiving any money, that means we can safely operate the district for 2.5 months. And that is recommended to be kept as a cash reserve. There is no statutory limitations or guideline there. However, experts in the field of finance recommend that we maintain 2 to 3 months of cash balance with us. So we feel that criteria now with 2.5 months of cash reserve. Last year, same time, we had 1.5 months of cash reserve. So we have done much better in the last 12 months. District level spending, I will talk about a little bit about some district level spending, and it has a snapshot of multiple years here, starting from 2020. Now, I'm throwing a lot of numbers, but I will take you through it. right? So a couple of columns, the most important ones are the last 3 columns here. So in 2020, our administrative expenses, in other words, our indirect student expenses, not the direct one, was around 31%. And per student spending was around $10,600 in 2020. Now in 2026, budgeted, it will be only about 17%. So we have done a huge progress in terms of achieving operational efficiency, because you can see, I mean, it was 31% before, now it is coming down to only 17%. So that means we are being more operationally excellent, leaving more dollars to be invested on the teachers and the students directly in the classroom. And also you can see the other side of the coin here. It was $10,600 in 2020 that we directly invested on our students, and now we are eyeing for $17,600. So huge progress over the years, and that just shows that we are continually striving for operational efficiency and excellence. Per student spending based on actual 2024-25 school year data. In terms of high schools, Washington was the high. However, we have to be a little cautious here when we interpret this data, because it can be interpreted in many ways, right? So people who know about economies know that there is something called economies of scale, right? In other words, if you have more students at a building, if the building utilization rate is higher, you will have lower per student spending. So that does not necessarily mean that we are investing less on that school, right? So there is that economics part, and also we continually try to invest more where students need it the most, right? So there are a lot of interplays of different factors, but from finance, we are just showing the data because we believe in transparency. And based on the data, the board and the other departments can take more decisions to make it more equitable when we invest the money on our students. Same thing for our middle schools. Dickinson had the highest per student spending. But again, I mean, you see Jefferson was having the lowest per student spending, but that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, because Jefferson possibly had one of the highest number of students among the middle or K-8 schools. That meant they were possibly more efficient in terms of the building utilization rate, going down on their per student spending. Also at the same time, the total expenditure here includes expenditure from grants, expenditure from donations, expenditure from title money or capital expenses, right? So there are different scenarios at different buildings. For instance, Darden and Coquillard, right? We can compare two elementary schools. Darden had more capital projects done in 24-25 compared to Coquillard. And we only invest on the most needed capital projects because we really don't have the money to do everything there, right? So that could drive up the per student spending. Also, recently you have seen that Adams has received a donation of $300,000 there, right? So there are stipulations when we receive donations that can also drive up per student spending. Doesn't necessarily mean that we are not prioritizing all these schools at the same time. Again, I already talked about the elementary schools. Darden had the highest, but does not necessarily mean that it was the most prioritized elementary schools. There are a lot of factors there in the interplay. Now the most exciting thing, SBCSC bargaining strategy, which was the driving force in our 2026 budget, because we have repeatedly said we are trying to achieve operational excellence and trying to rebuild our internal capacity by empowering our employees. Historic raises, if the board approves this budget, will make SBCSC the highest paying in the district. Now, why do so, right? I mean, why should we pay our employees the highest? Let me give you some backgrounds. SBCSC versus Indiana school districts. There are approximately 304 Indiana school districts. And in terms of the number of teachers, we are 5th. Great. However, in terms of teacher salaries, we lag behind a lot. You know, we are 203rd in terms of average teacher salary. This is based on 23-24 school year data. In terms of teacher retention rate or minimum starting salary, well, we don't do that well either. Some people may say that, hey, you are comparing a large school district with smaller school districts that are more agile, right? They can invest more on their teachers. But we can take a look at SBCSC versus largest other districts. I have taken the top 10 districts here in terms of number of teachers and students. The situation does not show much improvement. We are still lagging behind in all the metric there. Average salary, minimum starting salary, years of experience, which is a measure of teacher tenure, and also teacher retention rate, which is a great measure that shows that teachers are staying at your district. So we are kind of in the bottom, even among the top 10 largest school districts in Indiana. And again, this is based on 23-24 school year data, but I do not think that has improved much in 24-25. Now, why pay teachers a good salary, right? So there has been a lot of research, but we did a little bit of research on our own, based on only the top 25 largest Indiana districts. That includes us. So we have found positive correlation, moderate, strong positive correlation between teacher salaries and iLearn, iRead, and graduation data. And also we found a negative correlation between chronic absenteeism and teacher salaries, meaning in the districts that had higher teacher salaries had lower absenteeism, right? Not surprising, but the data shows that your gut feels or your, perceptions are quantitatively proven here. So if you increase teacher salaries, definitely you can anticipate that there will be some very good outcomes or return on investments in terms of student outcomes, right? Definitely teacher salary is not the only thing that drives up student outcomes, but possibly it is the strongest one. Now again, we have talked a little bit about Vision 2029. It is not something set in stone, but I would like to call it a Vision 2029 because few things will happen in 2028. Our referendum will be gone in 2028, and also after 2028, we will possibly see the worst impact of Senate Bill 1. So what should we do? We should really try to leverage our existing funds, all the money that we are getting, and also the healthy cash balance that we have. And this is the end game, one reference for Marvel fans, right? End game. If we don't make significant investments now, we might be left with nothing in a few years. Who knows, right? We overspent approximately $40 million in last 2-3 years. The empowerment zone, Brown renovation, special education expenditures there, and SSC. What about we really overspend on our own people, on our employees, and see if we can get some actual return on investment, right? How about we truly partner up with teachers and really empower them? So subject to board's approval and NEASB and SBCSC agreement, and this has already been shown in social media, I don't know how, but that was a little spoiler, but I'm gonna brag about that again. We are offering a $9,000 flat base salary raise to all our teachers, $7,000 for the school year of 25-26, and $2,000 to be followed in 26-27. Right now, we have a minimum teacher salary of $46,000. So with the raise, it will be $53,000 in 25-26 school year and $55,000 in 26-27 school year. The average teacher salary right now for SBCSC is around $56,000. It's going to be $63,000 and $65,000 in the next 2 school years. In addition to the $9,000 raise, we are also offering a one-time boost in base salary of $1,700. Mr. Reed and Mr. Augustino will share more details about that. It is mostly for the employees whose base salary was not adjusted when they received a master's degree. We are also increasing the sick day payout from $50 per day to $100 per day, which should boost up perfect attendance and attendance more. Also, professional development pay will be increased from $25 to $30. Class coverage from $46 to $53 and $55 in the next 2 years. And also for literacy endorsements, there will be an additional $100 increase. Coaches, the other extra duties, class sponsors, they also play very important roles. for our students, and that is also expected to go up by 35%. Now again, a current scenario, SBCSC versus neighbor school districts, and we have taken around like 9 neighbor districts here. Thanks to Mr. Ellison for this suggestion. We have added a couple of slides today because he had an excellent suggestion that we should also compare ourselves with the neighboring school districts. So this is the current scenario, based on 24-25 school year data. Our minimum salary right now is $46,000, average is around $56,000. And as you can see, we are kind of at the bottom compared to our neighbors. New scenario, SBCSC versus neighbor districts. If budget is approved and if the agreement is approved, we will be the highest paying in the region and one of the top 2 in the state, because we will have the new minimum teacher salary as $53,000. Second is Penn Harris Madison, around $48,000. I just was informed that they also have presented the tentative teacher agreement that will bring their minimum teacher salary to $50,000, but we still will be $3,000 more, and we will be $5,000 more in July 2026. And also in terms of average salary, we should be reasonably the number 1 in this region and in the neighboring counties, and again, one of the highest in the state. Now, often people say that why only empower the teachers? What about the bus drivers or other office personnel? Now, we do not have a tentative agreement with those unions. However, we have rebuilt our trust with all the unions, and we have budgeted around $28 to $30 per hour for the bus drivers. Paraprofessionals, office personnel, custodians, all groups will be minimum $20 per hour. We are basically moving towards a minimum $20 hour wage for this district, and Mr. Snideke has been advocating that for a long time, so dream is coming true. It might be a little different from grant funded positions, but definitely for the general funded positions, I mean, we have budgeted approximately 20% raise for all those positions there. Thank you. I was a little disheartened with the weak one, but again, thank you.
I don't see the cafeteria workers on there. Why? I thought that was going to be included.
Cafeteria workers are funded from a different federal fund. That is why I have not included them here, because this is the general budget presentation. However, we have good plans for them as well.
Yeah, well, it's what excuse you used last time is that it's federally funded, but we're talking about taking from the general fund to equalize that. So we make it a $20 an hour around South Bend School Corporation cost of living, and I think that's not out of place by doing that.
Yes, sir.
Especially in this day and age. And I'd like to make sure you guys amend that and work on the custodians. I thought that was happening, but I guess it's not in the presentation.
Custodians are included in this.
Yes.
Huh?
Custodians are included in this.
Custodians, not
Yes.
Cafeteria.
Cafeteria, like Mr. Tahmid said, there are plans to bring them up and subsidize the current rate from the general fund, but it has to be there will need to be amendments to the current budget, and of course it will come to your approval.
I thought that was, so at one time that was all included in the January 1st budget.
We have taken care of the people from the general fund, but I'm not saying no to you at all. I too believe that if we take care of everyone else, we should do the same for our cafeteria workers. But it might be a little complex due to the federal grant, but we are going to do everything that we can to bring them on the same par. We will be back with you.
I'm hopeful that that's going to happen. We can't just do and leave them out there unless we want an empty cafeteria, except for kids, with no one to feed them food. I mean, and they deserve it. They work just as hard with the kids than anybody else,
They do. They do.
And
They do.
so let's take some of that extra fun we got there and make sure everybody gets equal. I mean, I know some getting too much now, but it's in the wrong places, and that's what's happening. That's why we're making historical moves, because we got the right people in the right place, and that gives credit to the board, to people running it like you and Eads and the teachers, and it wouldn't happen. It could have happened years ago, but you guys are putting what we got here now and give recognition to everybody on this board and you guys, that the money's going where it's supposed to go now.
Yes.
But we got a lot to work on yet. There's a lot of things. I'm waiting on security to bring the new safety things, and I mean, we're doing a lot of things that people don't know that's costing money, and you guys are doing it with less money coming in.
Yes.
And so I commend you, and I commend the teachers. I commend all these workers and we plan on putting more workers from Brown School into where the kids are, and that's what's happening, and that's what needs to keep happening, and putting the money in the right places.
Yes, sir.
So I thank you guys all for that. All you guys, the board and everybody.
I want to say thank you to your team and our team, this board. There's not one member on this board, including the superintendent, that has not advocated for raises.
Yes.
For our teachers, our custodians, our bus drivers, our cafeteria staff, our paras, and secretary staff. And so I commend you for finding the funds to make that happen. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And also, I would like to thank the board because this required aggressive leadership. And without your leadership, we could not have done that, because I am all the time having crazy ideas. I go to Mr. Reed and I come to you, and you see the merit in it and you let me proceed. So,
Yeah.
I mean, without you, we couldn't have done that. So thank you
I
so much.
appreciate you. I thank you, because we are, every last one of us have advocated for this, and I appreciate it to see it finally happening. Thank you so much. Mr. Costello.
You guys have done just a fantastic job of putting this budget together. So many people wonder how and what is in a budget, but they don't know who to come to in order to find out. I'm not going to go back through the last administration, but I am going to advocate to anybody out there, and I've seen it on emails directed to our accounting staff. Any questions that people have, they answer it. They give you a response. And I think that's very important, that you are responding to people, because there's a lot of misunderstanding about how to develop a budget. Because school budgets are really different than a regular business, and very complex. One of the things you guys do very, very well is not only do you look at the past to show us what you had, give us an indication of the present of what we have, but you also try to look at the future. That is very, very important in a school budget. Because from the standpoint, if you don't start looking at what we have for the future, then some of the things that we're going to be doing right now, it never develops where we can afford to spend on things that we have, that we need in the future. So I thank you for that presentation in those three areas. The increase in money that we have in our budget for salaries doesn't appear people with magic saying, hey, we finally got money. It takes a lot of work from these people because we didn't get it from the state. We got it from these people working on a budget to decide what is important and where is the needs. This could have been done a long time ago, but you decided to do it, especially with the understanding and the purpose that raises for people is more important than other things that we have in that budget. That's very important to understand. That money just didn't come from the air. It came from their hard, diligent work of trying to develop and create money in certain areas that we had and then move it over into other areas that we need. I salute you. And I thank you so much for what you have given this board. But more importantly, I thank you very much for what you have given to people in these buildings who deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Leva?
Oh, I was going to say, thanks again, Anaf, and thanks for the shout out to the board and our leadership. But not only are we board members, we're elected public officials, so it's the community who's responsible for this, because they put us here, and we empowered you. And then in 2 years, at the end of 2028, we're going to need a community again to help us, because that's our long-term goal. So thanks again.
Any other comments? Ms. Lee?
So I'm using my journalism degree right now, so that's, so I'm thinking about questions the community might ask about this particular budget. So why are other districts in our area less optimistic in their budgets? Do you think we're being, I think we do need to be a little more aggressive and have a little bit of swagger, right? Because our kids are worth it, and so are our staff. But why are we able to be more aggressive? Does it have to do with the bond form, like our percentages? Like, help me understand that a little bit better.
Sure, I think that's a very important question there. One of the major things that allow us to be aggressive is the referendum. We do have the referendum, and not a lot of neighboring districts has one. I know that Elkhart had a failed attempt. Mishawaka had one as well. So we are blessed with referendum right now. We have a bigger tax base than most of our neighboring districts. Not all of them have that. Penn Harris Madison gets much lower compared to us in terms of their property tax revenue. However, they have more than 10,000 students, very close to 11, and we have around 13,000, right? So if you do a per student ratio of property tax revenue that they get versus we get more. Now, I'm not going to talk about the past, but only the present and the future. What we are trying to do is the things that we have, we are trying to make the best use of it, And we do have those blessings now. And if we want those blessings to continue, we have to be aggressive now and show good faith effort to our taxpayers. Keep up the referendum promises if we ever hope to ask for another one, because that is the biggest strength that we have had for the past 5 years, and we will still have that for the next 3 years. Now, even with the Senate Bill 1 impacts and everything, two important and strength areas, we are being able to be aggressive. One is definitely the referendum. Another is the healthy cash reserve that we have, So,
So I have like 5 questions, so bear with me on this. So, but that feeds well into my next one, which is, so when you talked about the spending in the schools, you mentioned that there were the different categories like capital and donations that impact that. And I hate to give you more work to do, because thank you for all that you do, because ew, finance, but I'm so happy that you do that. So is there a way that that could be illustrated, like kind of that breakdown? Because I think it's important not just for us to understand, but for the community to understand the impact of how much it costs to maintain buildings when you're a 100-year-old plus district, that's an expense that we can never avoid. We can't go out and magically make all new schools. And then also the donation piece to help understand that philanthropy makes a difference in our buildings as well. I don't know if that makes sense, but because the equity in the buildings is about even more than just the cash investment, it's about how the buildings are staffed. And I think there's got to be a way to work with HR to show those, the equitable investment of people and money into our buildings. So that's probably not so much of a question. That's more of that'd be a really nice thing.
no, but thank you for the suggestion, because we can definitely do that,
You do such a really nice job with these illustrations, so
Yeah,
this will get you in trouble, because now I'm going to ask for more.
Now, we can do that because we already have the data based on which we prepared the visualizations there. So we can definitely prepare more reports on the donations and capital projects by buildings. Thank you.
Can I respond to that quick?
You're the superintendent. You can do whatever you want.
May I should say. The reason when you looked at that graph and you saw rise up at 24,000 per pupil expenditure, rise up is limited to 15 per classroom. So, and they have 13 teachers, which I believe brings it to like 180 maximum, something like that. That's why it's higher. Plus, given that they have received that $3.2 million, anything they spend in that building is also used to be divided.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing too. You see if you see the teacher ratios in buildings, then you understand that that's an investment too. So I think that's just possibly an interesting way for the community to really understand how we best serve the students in our different buildings, and that some buildings have great students with greater needs than others. And I think it's kind of hard to wrap your head around when you just look at it, the South Bend schools as one whole thing, to really see that each building is unique, just like the students are. Okay, this is an internal controls question. As a former PTO / athletic booster person, our internal controls, are they cumbersome? And are you getting feedback from the staff and others, in ways to simplify them, just so people don't go, not even gonna do that. But can you continue to try to simplify them, I guess?
Yes, yeah, we're always open to suggestions. So right now it's going through the learning process where people are asking questions, how do I go about doing this? And where can I find the form to get it to the board, et cetera. So we are trying to get all forms that people need, because almost everything needs a form these days, on the employee resources portal on the website under documents. So we try to have them centrally housed there with instructions on what they need to do with them once they've filled them out. Hopefully we won't have too many more forms that are going to need to be created. I think we've kind of tackled the biggest so far. But yeah, if anybody has any suggestions on simplifying, I'm open to it. And one of the things that I'm doing is working with the State Board of Accounts, asking them, does this look right to you? Is this the correct process to follow? Do you know if any other district has a better way to do it? And actually with the financial software that we're switching to, we told them the same thing. If we're doing something that doesn't make sense to you or that we could do better, let us know, because that's what we want to do.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the manual's great, but it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So just made me go, whew, how's that going? So thanks for that answer. Let's see. I think my final question, back to the showing what the differences are in the schools. I think there was something really important on slide 56 about partnering with teachers, which is true, but I think really being transparent to the community and letting them know how they can best support our schools and where we really need not just financial support, but when we talk about tutors and different things like that, really making that clear, where they can be of the most help to make sure that our children succeed and that our educators feel supported. So thank you again for your work on all of this.
Thank you. Mr. Snideki.
Just short thing. I would make a bet that 20 year, where you got a unanimous vote, it's going to change to 2025. And I ditto everything Mr. Costello has said. Not, I don't say it quite as elegant, but I ditto everything he says. So, and I appreciate all you guys. The only thing I want to make sure you guys include the rest of it. And people don't know that nurses aren't going to get raises. The important thing there is we got to make sure the nurses are there, not invisible nurses. And that's why we raised it. And the same thing with the cafeteria workers, so I would guess, I'd be really surprised if we don't have a unanimous vote for the 2025 budget.
Mr. Ellison?
Yes, and I would just, kind of ditto a lot of things everyone has said. I think if you're currently teaching for the South Bend schools, I think we would say this is a, pretty large pay increase for the next couple of years. So congratulations, you've earned it, you deserved it. Kind of just going back, looking at the slide that now had added, my request regarding if you're a teacher teaching for a neighboring district, Penn, Mishawaka, John Glenn, Concord, Elkhart, Fairfield, LaPorte, New Prairie, if you would like to also have a large pay increase next year without having to move, that opportunity is out there and available to you. There are jobs open. If you're a education student that's graduating, you're interested in teacher apprenticing, you're a long-term sub now, you've been thinking about maybe I should go into teaching or that kind of thing, and you're looking at making well above $50,000 a year, coming out, as opposed to the 45, 46, 47 that you'd be looking at everywhere else in the area. I would also again say to you that opportunity now exists. You can come get on this train. So if you're interested in that, again, go to the website, send in your resume, because we're going to be able to fill everything up with certified teachers. So again, I think that's just a really big takeaway. If you're in education, you're looking to teach, you've got 20% pay reasons to think, where do you want to teach next year and how much do you want to make? To make sure you look into that and take that into consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work.
Dr. Green?
So, okay, what you've done is really incredible. And I think underlying it is the principle of making sure we've got resources going to the very places where we need them. One of the things that you began to do, not just this year, but in the past, is to use equity as a lens through which we might begin to understand something about what's going to enable our students to thrive. And I think one of the measures of that is per pupil expenses. But I really appreciated both your own recognition and Mr. E's that may oversimplify what it is we're doing in terms of making sure that the resources are going to the classrooms where we need them most and where we can support kids. This is a budget presentation, and again, I think we all are just really taken by the work you've done and the aggressive nature of what you've been doing could be applied as well to our understanding of the resources that are less tangible. And the teachers are working so hard to accomplish so much. Do they have what they need? And I think that's a question worth asking. What are the conditions that enable teachers and kids to thrive? And some of that, has to do with programming. And, my suggestion in the past, is to have a dashboard where, even though this is a budget presentation, that we understand the connection between budget and curriculum. And you have some very good hard data, but I think the thing is that are we seeing that certified teachers are in all of the buildings? Do we have certified teachers who have 15 and 20 years? Do we have teachers who have high retention rates? Do we have buildings where we can promise kids that there are lots of extracurriculars, that there's before school programs, special programs during? Right now we have 8 schools that have tutor ND. Why only 8? Why not 10? Why not 12? You know, what's holding us back? We have after-school programs. What about summer programs? What about athletics combined with academics? So I think, you know, we know the condition, we know some of the conditions, but I think as we plot out our understanding of the culture of schools, where we can be our best selves as board members and teachers and administrators and so on, what about our students? And what about our teachers? Can we say something about the intangibles? And that's what I would love to see being unpacked in any sort of equity approach to a budget. There aren't these tangibles. It's not just the finance, as you say. Yeah. We're spending some money more in schools for special ed, as well as the grants that some schools are getting and other schools aren't. And how does that translate into, well, what does that mean for kids, teachers, and others? So with all that, I still applaud you. I think we have some work to do. I think we have to be aggressive in making sure that everybody has what they need, and it's not just in terms of dollars and cents.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
I agree. Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Thank you so much for your presentation. I appreciate you. We now move to the consent agenda. It is recommended that the School Board of Trustees approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Not yet. I'm going to pull 8.04, and that's going to be a separate vote. So, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda minus 8.04? We're going to approve 8.01, which is the approval of minutes, October 2025, 8.02, financial reports and statements, 8.03, bills and payroll for payment, 8.05, resolutions requiring annual adoption, 8.06, gifts and fundraisers, 8.07, contracts for $50,000 or less. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Is where I say so moved?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Snidecki, second by Mrs. Lee. Are there any questions? Ms. Hernandez, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Ellison?
Aye.
Mr. Costello?
Aye.
Miss Lee?
Aye.
Dr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Leyva?
Aye.
Mr. Snedecki?
Aye.
Dr. McCullough?
Aye. The vote to approve the consent agenda 8.01, 8.02, 8.03, 8.05, 8.06, 8.07 passes unanimously. 7 votes. We now go to 8.04, the personnel report. Is there a motion to, we're going to pull.
We need to pull number 9 under non-certified coaches. I can't vote on that one.
Okay, we're going to take a separate vote on the personnel report minus number 9, which will be a separate vote by itself. Is there a motion to approve the personnel agenda minus item number 9?
Under non-certified coaches, just there's more than
Under
one
the
number 9.
non-certified, yes, under the non-certified coaches.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Lees, and do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Green. Are there any questions? Ms. Hernandez, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Ellison?
Aye.
Mr. Costello?
Aye.
Miss Lee?
Aye.
Dr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Leyva?
Aye.
Mr. Snedecki?
Aye.
Dr. McCullough?
Aye. The vote to approve the personnel agenda minus item number 9 passes unanimously, 7 votes. We now go to item number 9 on the non-certified coaches. Is there a motion to approve item number 9?
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Snideki. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been second by Dr. Green. Are there any questions? Ms. Hernandez, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Ellison,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Miss Lee,
Abstain.
Dr. Green,
Aye.
Mr. Leba,
Aye.
Mr. Snedecke,
Aye.
Dr. McCullough.
Aye. The vote to approve action item number 9, I'm sorry, not action item, item number 9 under the non-certified coaches passes 6-1 abstention. We now move to action, to approve action item 9.01. It is recommended that the School Board of Trustees approve action item 9.01. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned by Dr. Green, second by Mrs. Lee. Are there any questions? Ms. Hernandez, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Ellison,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Miss Lee,
Aye.
Dr. Green,
Aye.
Mr. Leba,
Yes.
Mr. Snedecke,
Aye.
Dr. McCullough.
Aye. The vote to approve action item 9.01 passes unanimously, 7 votes. It is recommended that the School Board of Trustees approve action item 9.02, approve and adopt the 2026-2030 school bus replacement plan. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Lee, second by Dr. Green. Are there any questions? Ms. Hernandez, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Ellison,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Miss Lee,
Aye.
Dr. Green,
Aye.
Mr. Leba,
Aye.
Mr. Snedecke,
Aye.
Dr. McCullough.
Aye. The vote to approve action item 9.202 passes unanimously, 7 votes. It is recommended that the School Board of Trustees approve action item 9.03, approve and adopt the 2026-2028 Capital Projects Operations Funds Plan. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Lee, second by Mr. Snidecke. Are there any questions?
A point of clarity. So because we're not asking for anything here, can you explain why we're not? Like how capital expenses are being covered?
Yeah, sure. So we are going to be covering our capital expenditures through the GEO bonds or other bond and capital funds, which we have been doing in the past. Recently we just have issued $16 million of bonds for 2026 capital projects. Even previously, we did the same thing. It has not been a huge change in the policy or a strategy there, but we had some little placeholder budgets in our operations fund, which we really did not utilize. So we are just trying to be more leaner in terms of our operations fund budget. So that is why we are just advertising 0 when we have actually been spending $0 there.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Hernandez, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Ellison,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Miss Lee,
Aye.
Dr. Green,
Aye.
Mr. Leba,
Aye.
Mr. Snedecke,
Aye.
Dr. McCullough.
Aye. The vote to approve action item 9.03 passes unanimously, 7 votes. It is recommended by the School Board of Trustees to approve action item 9.04, approve a resolution to authorize raises for certain non-unionized and certified employee groups for 2025-2026. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned by Dr. Green, second by Mrs. Lee. Are there any questions? Ms. Hernandez, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Ellison,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Miss Lee,
Abstain.
Dr. Green,
Aye.
Mr. Leba,
Aye.
Mr. Snedecke,
Aye.
Dr. McCullough.
Aye. The vote to approve action item 9.04 passes 6 votes to 1 abstention. The motion passes. It is recommended by the School Board of Trustees to approve action item 9.05, approval of construction quote from Walls Paving and Asphalt Project at Darden Elementary. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned by Mrs. Lee, second by Dr. Green. Are there any questions? Ms. Hernandez, please call the roll.
Mr. Ellison,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Dr. Green,
Aye.
Mr. Leva,
Aye.
Mr. Snedecki,
All right.
Dr. McCullough.
Aye. The vote to approve action item 9.05 passes unanimously, 7 votes. It is recommended that the School Board of Trustees approve action item 9.06, approval of the Tiny Eye contract. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned by Dr. Green, second by Ms. Lee. Are there any questions? Ms. Hernandez, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Ellison,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Dr. Green,
Aye.
Mr. Leva,
Aye.
Mr. Snedecki,
All right.
Dr. McCullough.
Aye. The vote to approve action item 9.06 passes unanimously, 7 votes. It is recommended by the school board that the School Board of Trustees approve action item 9.07, approval of the renewal of Power School maintenance and support invoice. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned by Mrs. Lee, second by Dr. Green. Are there any questions? Ms. Hernandez, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Ellison,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Dr. Green,
Aye.
Mr. Leva,
Aye.
Mr. Snedecki,
All right.
Dr. McCullough.
Aye. The motion to approve the vote to approve action item 9.07 passes unanimously, 7 votes. It is recommended that the School Board of Trustees approve action item 9.08, approval of Instructure Incorporated. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Lee, second by Mr. Costello. Are there any questions?
Yeah. This is a subscription, but I'm not sure I know what it's a subscription for.
Okay, so anyone can answer that question for Dr. Green.
Instructure is
Instructure.
the company that owns Canvas, which is our learning management system that we're going, shifting the learning management system from Google Classroom to Canvas. And they're basically the ones who own Canvas.
That's very
Instructure.
helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Question, is this, so teachers have used Google Classroom and Canvas, is this what they want? Is Canvas more effective?
Eventually, Google Classroom will be phased out,
Okay.
and Canvas will be the learning management system of SBCSC.
All right. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Hernandez, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Ellison,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Dr. Green,
Aye.
Mr. Leva,
Aye.
Mr. Snedecki,
All right.
Dr. McCullough.
Aye. The vote to approve action item 9.08 passes unanimously, 7 votes. In closed section, we're moving over,
I think we're going to have the, presentation for the tentative collective bargaining agreement.
okay, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, 10.01, the tentative agreement of the teacher collective bargaining agreement, presentation by Mr. Eid, Mr. Agostino.
We got a whole big team here.
Whole
Mr.
big
Zook
team.
is here. Mr. Summers is here. Dr. Stevens is here. Anaf is here if they want to come on up. But we'll make it a fast presentation.
All righty, thank you.
And as you can see, I've put up there the team. I do want to say thank you on behalf of our team to the negotiating team for the teachers. I know Miss Linda Lucy's here. I think Joe Washington with the ISTA and Linda's team did a very nice job, very collaborative effort. So I want to say thank you to them for participating in this. I also want to say special thanks to Amy Asmus, who did a wonderful job keeping track of the changes in the collective bargaining agreement as we went through and did those. And it was very rewarding to hear from Beverly Beck during the negotiation process. She's been a teacher with us for over 80 years. That this was the best round of negotiations she'd ever participated in. So, so anyway, big round of applause to the group. As you can see on our team, we had a lot of red ink up there. What happened to it?
Everything you got sitting at the table is your team, right?
Yep, our team. And everyone here except Dr. Stevens and Jason Zook were rookies on this negotiating team.
Where's the other side of the table?
Well, we got Linda Lucy back there. Oh, there's some other groups down there. See?
I would
So,
like to see that
yeah.
all together as a team.
We'll do that afterwards for photos. So let me get going on this. I'm going to call out the changes. We got some veterans here that can answer questions regarding these or provide you historical context. The big changes obviously were the switch to Team Care as our health care provider, which enabled us to get savings, which we could then use for the pay raises, and Anaf's already laid those out. Is he here somewhere? No, there he is. He's a big part of the team. So the big part were the raises for the teachers, and we'll point those out in the appendices when we get to them. So, but I'm going to scroll through the agreement here. I know this will be a little bit tedious, but I'll call out things as we go through this, and mostly not many changes at all. So under Article 1 on recognizing the union, the only addition under Article 1 was to add deans and principal interns to the definition of who's excluded from the definition of teacher as far as who's part of the bargaining unit. On Article 2, there were no changes. Oops, I went too far. Article 3, absences and leaves. We added a distinction in the contract distinguishing between teachers hired before the 2016-2017 school year and what they're allowed to accumulate in sick leave days. There's a distinction of 330 for that group, whereas teachers hired after July 1, 2016 get only 200. Is that right, Jason?
That is correct, sir.
He knows his stuff inside out, I don't. Okay. We also added language from Indiana Code 20-28-9-10, which allows, that's on the next page, let me get to it. The red lettering add-on, that allows for transfer of up to 3 days per year. And we also addressed what happens with returning teachers and what they get to use as far as previous year's sick and personal time. On next item we changed was on bereavement. I just passed it. Yep. On bereavement, we did add the stillbirth and miscarriage as additional reasons for allowing bereavement. Okay, so then we're going to go to page 4. Okay, we added a section 3 here under H of Article 3 for allowing reasonable break periods for nursing mothers. required by law, but it hadn't been in here, so we thought it was essential to put that in there. Another item that was added in here was J, paid parental leave, up to 10 days for birth or adoption of child. Okay, going to Q. Did I jump? Okay. On sick leave bank on page 5, we set forth some rules on accessing the leave bank based on and making that consistent with the FMLA rules for getting that. We also recognize that some of our teachers may not have eligibility for FMLA based on length of time working or whether they had used it. And we do allow ability to seek up to 50 days. We also specified that if teachers do draw from the sick bank, they're required to pay those days back, and we have a method for doing that. Did you want to expound on that, Jason? Okay. Okay, so then we're at Article 4. Okay, we're going to page 10 as the next point of change. And consistent with the prior change I mentioned earlier on the 330 versus 200 on sick leave payout, we did specify that in the contract under item C here on page 10. And we laid out the sick leave payout at retirement schedule, $100 per day for the first 100 days, 150 per day from 101 to 200, 200 per day for 201 to 300, and 250 per day for over 301 up to the 330. Under retirement, we did make a distinction between end-of-year retirement and mid-year retirement and laid out the rules for the mid-year retirement. Under Article 6, insurance, beginning on page 11, the big change here is the adoption of Team Care as the provider. Our contribution rates are 80-20 for the standard plan, and the Cadillac plan is a 73-27 contribution rate. On dental insurance, we did add a clarifier that $1,500 was the lifetime max pay on orthodontic. That's right there in the middle of the page there. You can see that on page 12. And then on compensation, and I think we laid out some rules here on how we're calculating the hourly salary when we need that calculation, and also the daily rate when we need that calculation. We allowed for reclassification 2 times a year, January 15th and June 15th. You want to add a little background on that one, Jason?
Sure. So about 2012, I believe it was, the state made a rule that master's degrees don't matter any longer. And so from then on, teachers had a couple years to finish their programs. But after that, when a teacher earned their master's degree or doctorate degree, they did not receive any pay increase with that because the lanes and steps were taken away from the contract. A new employee that had a master's degree or doctorate degree coming in would get compensated for that on the new hire scale, but not our current employees because it wasn't allowed. So therefore, old prior language allowed for reclassification when we could do that. And so since now that we were able to provide, I think it was $1,700 for those that earn a master's degree during that time, this will give the Human Resources Department an opportunity for people to reclassify, provide that information, and then based on the next negotiations, look at how many people earn their master's degree, doctorate degree, and then decide, are we able to afford increases separately for those people that earn those advanced degrees. New employees coming into the district will still continue to earn that because it's based on our new hire schedule, but this will allow for our internal people now to hopefully, if money's available, earn that.
There is a caveat, though, on the master's degree. What was happening is some people were leaving the district and coming back to get reclassified at the higher rate. So as long as there was continuous employment, non-interrupted, then we will reclassify them now so that they can earn the credits.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move to, let's see, equal pays. Yeah, I think I passed that up. Okay, we added a statement in here that those are who are retiring, resigning, or emergency permit holders who have been non-renewed will be paid out on the June schedule. And J through K, no changes. L, on additional teaching duties, we specified that on extended contracts, the teachers will be paid at 0.085 of their workday per semester. Okay, and I think the next change on Y. So on Y, and I think this is a significant add-in here, this allows the school to pay out of line up to 35% of the maximum new hire rate of compensation for certain positions that are like high demand, high need, hearing impaired teacher, occupational therapist, physical therapist, speech language pathologist, psychologist, and visually handicapped teachers. So this enables the school to deviate from the regular pay rate in order to recruit people to fill these positions. And if you recall too, this is an area where we did incur a lot of contract claims in the special ed area. I think it was up to $10 million it was having to fill or backfill or provide these services. So again, keeping with the idea of being aggressive here, we want to try to be able to pay aggressively to find people as our employees in these areas. And then a small change here under BB, payment for retiree substitute teachers at a rate of $200 per day. Okay, there's really no changes on Article 8. Article 9 are updated with the signatures, but nothing significant. And then we've got the compensation schedules. And I think Anaf had a very good slide that summarized those. I can pull that back up here. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Jason or Mr. Eid, Sarita, Anaf.
Yeah.
Did you leave something out?
Yeah, we are the highest paying district in the region now, you know? Yeah.
I did note that you had a unanimous approval on your budget tonight, so congratulations.
I gave them the sign already.
I think as far as the pay goes, this does summarize it pretty well. And it is an aggressive pay, and it does put us in competition. I think it does put pressure on other schools to either move up, or we're going to be able to draw in, I think, teachers, certified teachers back over here. Let me get back to my. Okay, and then the one thing that is new then is under Article 9. So when we adopted or made the switch over to Team Care, I'll get to that. There was a change up in how specialty drugs would be paid for under the, so here we go. Under the Team Care plan, and the co-pays were going to jump substantially, I think at least up to $800 at least for some of these specialty drugs. So the finance team looked at the savings and I think calculated that we could set aside $500,000 for 25, 26, and then also for 26, 27 to reimburse out-of-pocket expenses for specialty drugs for employees. So the way this plan is going to work is going to reimburse each participant, not just employees, but participants in the plan, up to $1,500 per year with an aggregate total of claims paid. So it's going to be first come, first serve of $500,000. We think the $500,000 will be more than enough to cover that expense. There's a procedure laid out here. This is, again, something completely new. We had to be creative on coming up with this. But it lays out the rules. The drugs do have to be covered under the plan, so we're paying for the out-of-pocket of it. So no experimental drugs. They have to be prescribed by licensed physicians, medically necessary, and fit the specialty drug med listing under the plan. So they are covered expenses. They just have a high out-of-pocket impact on our employees. We do have a review process. What we're going to do, the claims, we're going to get a report quarterly from Team Care that's going to give us the name of the employee and the amount that they incurred out of pocket, and then we will issue reimbursement. If someone happens to fall off that list, we've got a process described in the plan on how they can go about getting reimbursed. We have a review process on processing these claims and appeals, which is all laid out. And it took quite a while to fine tune this, but I think we reached a point where everybody was on board on how we can work this through with the benefits.
Can I ask, are all these, I know we're talking about teachers right here, are all the rules for all the employees same rules, or is there special?
So the specialty drug plan applies for all employees, not just the teachers.
All employees.
Yes.
Okay, that's basically my question. And when do the employees have a certain date they gotta enroll in this?
So the this plan, once you approve this plan then will take effect. It takes effect January 1 of 26 forward, because that's when our Team Care plan comes into play.
Takes effect.
Yeah.
Is that, they got till then to decide whether they wanted to be in it or not?
No, there's a different time period for that. You want to answer that, Sarita?
Once the approval from the board takes place, that the onboarding process takes place. So Team Care will take care of that for us. We have all the records through Optavise, so they will literally contact people. So the enrollment period will almost start right away.
Okay.
And there's been a lot of work being done, I know, behind the scenes to get ready to launch that.
Yeah, in terms of records.
Okay. I was just trying to get her to talk.
No, they got it. We've done all the work, so they got it.
So those are the highlights of the CVA. Any questions?
I just have one question. On page 15, under BB, are we going to be the highest paid corporation for our retired substitute teachers? Or are we compatible with someone, with the rest of the corporations?
I don't know the answer to that, but do you know?
Not yet. Okay. I was under the impression that we were, but I was just corrected. Elkhart is still at 275.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
I have one question, and it's not directed to anybody at the front desk. It's the person in the way in the back. Mrs. Lucy, teachers approve this? Everybody in agreement with this? You want to speak at the podium there?
Yes, we ratified the contract, and it was unanimous. Everyone there voted in for, and I have to say thank you, if you approve this, for the leadership of Dr. McCullough as president, the school board, and everyone sitting at this table. It was a very collective, collaborative effort, and I think, pardon me, one of the best tributes that anyone could get was as we were leaving the hall from our ratification meeting, the Team Care people came to present their information and take questions from our people. And as I was leaving, they pulled me aside and said, I want you to know how impressed we are that you take such good care of your employees. So we're getting a reputation, and we thank you very, very much.
No, we thank you for that comment.
And I was asked to point out one other thing here on, under Appendix 2, Section 2, that our extra pay schedule is indexed to 46,000 for the 25 through 27 school years. But you need to explain why that's important.
Sure. This is important because for many, many years, it's been held at 34,000, I believe, and frozen, so our coaches and those that do after-school activities have been paid off that rate. And so this is a huge percentage increase for the hard work that they put in after school, for our clubs, for our sports. And the other thing I think should be noticed, it's kind of funny because I was cleaning out the Union Hall one time, in the filing cabinet, I found a note that said, was talking about Appendix 2, and this was from the late 70s, and said, hey, we'll talk about this next year. And of course, it was typewritten. And it literally, the Appendix 2 has been kicked down the can down the road year after year after year, get one or two things in. And both sides, both teams really worked hard, spent almost the whole day putting in a ton of positions that exist, but people weren't getting compensated for. And we really wanted to fix that this year. So when you look through, and if you compare it to an old contract, it's probably doubled in size with the amount of positions now we're going to pay people for with their time. That's very important.
Thank you. Any other questions? No questions, thank you. So Attorney Augustino, are we moving anything else from that meeting in the executive meeting?
We are, just before we get to that though, so we're requesting that we have you can't vote on this tonight, but we're requesting a special meeting for November 10th, if we could, so that the board may ratify this agreement.
Okay.
we were required to present the contents of it tonight.
November 10th at 5:30.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so then moving on to your agenda under item 11, there was one item involving a legal settlement of a claim that I would request the board's approval on.
Okay. So, tell me the item again, so I can put the motion in place.
It was a settlement of a legal claim involving an employment matter.
Okay. Okay. So, do I have a motion to approve the settlement of a legal claim agreement? So, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It was moved by Dr. Green, second by Mr. Ellison. Are there any questions? Ms. Hernandez, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Ellison?
Aye.
Mr. Costello?
Abstain.
Ms. Lee?
Abstain.
Dr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Leba?
Aye.
Mr. Snedecke?
Abstain.
Dr. McCullough?
Aye. The vote to approve the item 11.01 from closed session, the settlement agreement, passes 4-3. 3 vote in favor and 4 votes in favor and 3 abstentions. The vote passes. We now move to board communications. Does anyone wish to speak? Seeing no one want,
I'll go.
Mr. Leva?
Yeah. So, end of the fall sports, we're entering the winter sports, and we got a couple new coaches. Maybe you guys haven't heard of. We have Coach Corey coaching the girls Washington basketball team. We have Mo Scott coaching the Washington boys, and I'm sure they're going to keep those programs going, and we expect good big things from them. Then we got Junior Scott coaching at Adams, and then we also got boys basketball starting pretty soon. So and Riley girls basketball starting. So good luck to all the winter sports.
Anyone else wish to speak? Seeing no one wish to speak, there will be a special meeting on 11/10 at 5:30 in regards to the teacher contract. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
There's a second. It's been motioned by Mrs. Lee, second by Dr. Green. And all signify by in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion is adjourned. Thank you for coming.